Okay, so we're starting to assemble it. I actually had it all together, and I've just taken it apart. There's one rail that wasn't aligned properly, but you can see here the formation in place. So here is your common crossing, your two obtuse crossings, and your other common crossing. And the way in which you align these, as you can see, is these pieces of brass. Now these are 3mm by half a mil, which is just half a mil is the width that the flangeways need to be. So these can rest in those flangeways really nicely. And the 3mm is just so it pokes up a bit. It might even be 1.5 mil. Just so it pokes up a bit, so you can lift it out and remove it. But as you can see here, I'm laying one piece of brass this way, and these happen to be soldered in. But before they were, it was simply a matter of placing that in there, and then in there, and then you can see you can align it all up and make sure that it's roughly square. Now, I've been referring to this template frequently. In each assembly is laid on here and then transferred, so I know that these joints and intersections are in roughly the right place. I've been using Carr's green solder here with a paintbrush, just applied to this joint, and then I'm using these solder balls. You can get these on eBay. It's about £3 or £4, I think. 0.76mm. They're used for surface mount electronics, but the great thing about it is they're great for this as well. You get exactly the same amount of solder each time, so it's a case of just dipping the soldering iron on there, pick it up, and there's that amount of solder on the tip, and then bring that over here and apply it to the given area. So yeah, that's the kind of thing we do. So that's how I'm applying the rails to the PCB. A viewer has suggested that I should consider using Versaline chair plates, and I think I'll do that, but I'll cover that at a later stage. And what I'm using is a wagon to test this diamond. So if I take these bits of brass out, you can see there's a few areas where there's actually track that I can run a train through, a locomotive or a wagon or something through. Just this crossing here. And what happened is, as I was running it through, as it hit the tip of this planed piece of rail, it juggled around, and I found if I held the wagon against this side, it was okay, and in either direction. So I can imply that this is fine and this is fine, and the clearance on this side is fine of this V, but basically the V was in the wrong place. So rather than using the jig, which is what I used to assemble previously, I'm going to be using these pieces of brass again, although I have a special like a sled that I can put in there. But essentially I'll do something very similar by lining that in there, and then there'll be another piece, I'm going to change hands, another piece up against this rail, and then that will give me, roughly, I'll be able to then add this rail in. This isn't even the right piece of rail, is it? But yes, add in the, here we go, add this rail into that corner, and have it aligned properly with enough clearance. Like I said before, that tip of that V is one of the most crucial dimensions, so it has to be done properly. And I was thinking to myself, well, this is just a test, it doesn't matter, I'll just construct it. But it's a simple fix to take that piece of rail out and reapply it, and it makes sense to get it done properly. So that's what I'm going to do.